known that Claudia Schiffer had bodyguards backstage for her bras and her underwear because they were stolen as soon as she was there. And when she just left backstage and when she was back, the underwears were gone, and they decided to just provide some bodyguards for her underwears because she was that famous. We're talking about that level of fame. Claudia Schiffer ruled the 90s. She was appearing on more than 1,000 covers of different magazines like Elle, Cosmopolitan, Vogue, and anything. She walked for any fashion show and any brands you could ever imagine, and she was really legendary. She was living a queen rock star. Claudia Schiffer is not only a supermodel because of her beauty and her appearance outside, but some lessons that we should learn from her inside world. She always respected herself to a point that she will never put anything above her self peace and her self, I don't know, value. She once rejected an Arab prince for $1 million offer for only a dinner because she never wanted to even put a price on herself. And then she found real love, which is a really rare thing in industry. And then she's the ice queen, but at the same time, she's queen of time. She exactly knows when let things go and when she finishes something and then just go and enjoy her life. Like what she did when she was in 2002, she just let go of everything to go and stay with her real love. Stay tuned. Today we're gonna deep dive into Claudia Schiffer story. Hi everyone, this is Em, and today is the third cover of Supermodels. First was Gia Chiarendi, second was Cara Delevingne, and today we're gonna deep dive into Claudia Schiffer's life, which I really like the most because she really had this self-respect and high standards in her life. So let's get into it. People were obsessed with Claudia Schiffer in the 90s, and when I look back, I guess that's just more than a pretty face. Although she was a really iconic supermodel, that she was everywhere, she was one of the top 10 money earner on the world. I remember that Forbes estimated her net worth in 2002 like $55 million, which is huge for a supermodel. But what makes her different from other supermodels of that time was her scandal-free lifestyle. She never had any dramas. As they say, she was a really ice queen. She always distanced herself from gossip, drama, scandals, and anything, drugs, after parties. She always wanted to have peace. She always wanted to make herself upper than anything, upper than fame, upper than money. And she always had these high standards and high values for herself, which I really appreciate for a woman in her place. Being in industry and being into fashion and under the spotlight would always bring you some negative consequences, like you will go to after parties, you will go to be drunk, you will date so many men that will bring you some scandals. And she was always putting herself first, and I really love that. You cannot underestimate the role of our childhood into bringing out this characteristic, this attitude, this standards into our life, just like Claudia Schiffer did. She was born into a very strict German family who had a very hard discipline, especially her father. He was a lawyer. She always had this hard-working lifestyle, trying to be punctual, trying to be disciplined, to do whatever she wants. She had goals and she just went for them. She was very smart, although. She was born into a city which was called Rheinberg, and she mentioned that it's a very small city. It only has one ice cream market, or I don't know, one cinema, one church, and it's other side of Rhine, and so it's beautiful and it's picturesque. Claudia was born on 25 August 1970 into a family with 3 other siblings, 1 brother, Stephen, 2 sisters, Andrea and Caroline, I guess. And her mom was a housewife, her father was a lawyer, and maybe that's the reason behind why she always dreamt of being a lawyer, but she never knew that fate has another plans for her. She was very smart, although her family always remembered her as a very curious girl that always had big questions on her head and asked about everything around. And you know, she's very actually smart. She was in City Olympia when she was 15, if I'm not wrong, in the field of physics. And she's fluent in 3 languages: English, German, and French. You know what? Claudia was not that type of girl that only studied for college and grades, but she studied because she wanted to be smarter than herself, their yesterday version of herself. You know, she always wanted to be better. She always wanted to be an updated version of herself. And as you know, she was into ballet dancing, and that's why her parents enrolled her when she was a child. And I guess that's one of the reasons of her beautiful shape and physique. So that was the ballet. You know what? All of the qualities that I mentioned is not gonna protect Claudia for not being a shy girl. She was shy, she was very introverted, she struggled with self-esteem problems, and that's the reason she could never actually get to know other kids as her age. And she was always alone, and she was bullied all the time by her classmates because of her height, because of her, I don't know, her physique. We'd call her, you're too skinny or too tall, you're too blonde. And you know what? People always have something to say. She never let those feelings to stop her from reaching her goals. She just went for them and dreamed for better and did everything she could for getting the better version of herself. And you cannot underestimate the role of her parents and her family, because she came from a very disciplined family, especially her father, and they just taught her to support her dreams, to go for them no matter what are her dreams. And she just did that, and she was always successful in the way to pursuing her dreams and, I don't know, the life she wanted. And she wanted to be a lawyer just like her father, but then destiny came with other plans for her. And not only once, but twice. What everything changes in a night, 1987, when Claudia was dancing with her friends in a nightclub in Dusseldorf, and she was just shaking, and she was scouted by Michael Leviton, manager of Metropolitan Agency, and he sent her to do some shootings in Paris. And at first, she and her family wasn't so sure if she wanted to pursue that career in the industry, because she was so young. She was 15. After the Paris shooting, she saw that she made some attention in Paris and in brands, and she just wanted to give it a try, and her family supported her. And the second time, she was scouted in a beach by Patrick Lafontaine, elite modeling agency. And this time she signed a contract with them too. And then her story into fame and being a successful model started. And in 1989, she was into her peak modeling career because of the Guess campaign, which was she was the major face of the Guess. And she mentioned that when I was in an elevator in my apartment in New York City near Central Park, people just came over to me and asked me if, are you the Guess girl? And I was like, oh my god. Since then I knew that my whole life has changed. And you know what? Her career just reached for better. Since then, she became muse for Karl Lagerfeld. She became friends with the other 5 top supermodels of that time: Cindy Crawford, Chrissy Turlington. They were everywhere. They were in every project. Just one of them was invited. All the 5 went for doing the project together. And even if the photographer or the designer they were working was not a good man, and he was into some, I don't know, sexual harassment or stuff, they would call each other and tell each other about him, to not going to work with that. And they were like very good friends, and I guess the friendship continued until now. And she even became one of the top money earner supermodels in the world. She got like $20,000 for every fashion show. And you know what? In one of her interviews, she mentioned that she's living in Monaco, and that's maybe the place where she met a very rich Arab prince, and which he offered her to have a dinner with him for like $1 million, and she rejected that. Personally, I love the idea that in a way that everyone is accepting I don't know, being in a billionaire's life with money, and no matter how much fame, how much money she has, she always accepting that extra money that's coming from another billionaire. And with this, supermodels are becoming an inseparable part of billionaires' lives. But she was breaking this illusion. She was trying to tell everyone that you cannot be bought. Your presence cannot be bought even with $1 million offer, and I really love that. About her relationships, real relationships. At first she was with David Copperfield, the magician, the illusionist, and at first people were to believe, okay, she was chosen between the audience, and then she became the magic girl for David Copperfield, but then Copperfield team revealed that she was there because she was paid for it. She was paid like $500,000. She was arriving there with a I don't know, first class train ticket, bodyguards, and everything. Everything was planned. And then after a while, people started to believe maybe their whole relationship was fake PR relationship, and I don't know, not true. But Claudia said it was how media works. Our relationship was real, but the show was something to be planned. Although their relationship didn't last long, but he was always having respect for her. But I can't ignore the fact that he had some SA cases, sexual assault cases, even for women under the age. And I don't know what happened to that case, but I can't just ignore that too. But after David Copperfield, Claudia went into a relationship with Tim Jeffries. He was an art collector, and that was a very short time. And then in 2002, when she was in the peak of her career, she was really famous. She had so much money. Yeah, and net worth estimated by Forbes around $55 million. She just decided consciously to just come out of everything, clean, scandal-free, drama-free, to join her love of life. At the moment, she met Matthew Wan. He was a director, and then fall in love. They say it was a love at first sight, and they are still together. They have 3 kids, Kaspar, Clementine, and Cosima. Yeah, they're living the good life. They are living outside of London, not trying to gain attention of paparazzi and medias for the sake of their children. They want them to grow up in a very immune, family, far from any fame, far from any attention. And she's trying to protect them from everything until they grow up and they want to become a part of this fame. When a journalist once asked her if one of your children wants to go the same way you did, she said, I really support her because I only had fun and it was all positive experiences, but the only condition to me is the age. They shouldn't be so young entering this industry, and otherwise I'm gonna support my kids anyway. In 2017, she made a comeback like she was never gone, and she even launched her own makeup cosmetic with Art Deco, Aquazora, and she even designed 8 different shoes with 8 different stories behind them. And she even launched her own sunglasses. Yeah, I remember it was that. She always says that you should follow your instincts, you should follow your gut. And she has a German thing to say that it's Morgenstund hat golden Mond. And correct me if I'm wrong, I really do not know how to pronounce German very well, but it means that the morning hours has gold in it, and if you want to just achieve everything, you gotta wake up early in the morning. What do you think about that? Do you think we should all get up at 5 a.m. and go and do everything because it has gold in that early hours, or you believe that maybe everyone has a different internal clock and you should just listen to your own body and no crowd? Just write me in the comments, what do you think, and what was your favorite part of her life, and why would you love her? Have any ideas for covering the next supermodel? Write down on the comments for me. But I do believe that she was the real example of a time queen. She exactly knew when to continue and when to stop. And maybe that's the reason of continuing her life with so much success, so much money, so much good memories, scandal-free and drama-free. What do you think her secret was? Write me in the comments and have a very nice time. Goodbye.